Hi, thanks for tuning in to another Atomic-Moto product review video. Today I am here to talk about a boot called the TCX Drifter. Now this is aimed at the adventure touring category, but it is definitely pitched toward the more protective side of that end as far as its construction. That's something we really like. I'll give you all the rundown. Let's get started. First, let me give you the basics on the TCX Drift. Now, this boot comes in sizes 38 all the way up to a size 48. We have a TCX size chart on our web page for this boot and for other TCX models that gives you a conversion to US size, but it's sold in the EU scale. Now, it retails for $299 as of the filming of this video, and this one weighs about 2.98 pounds. It's a size 45. The height of the TCX Drifter Boot is about 13.5 inches measured in the middle of the boot, probably a little less since I had the footbed out of this model. TCX Drifter is a waterproof boot. It has TCX's private label waterproof liner in the inside. It is not Gore-Tex, but it is waterproof. The construction of it follows some other boots in the category we like. It uses a suede leather. That's generally to cut costs, but it's got a really cool look. TCX calls it vintage over and over again, and that's kind of nice. They did minimize the number of panels on it. There's one fairly large panel that runs here over the toe and then up the side of the boot. That's great because it means less seams to interfere or to bother you, and it actually makes the boot a little bit more expensive to manufacture, so kudos to them for doing that. They use a suede stamped burn guard here, nothing new there. They use a leather reinforcement over the top of the toes on both the left boot where you actually shift and the right boot where there's some sort of aesthetic reason for doing it. And then they use PVC inserts on the tongue area, and again here in the black for flex. They're pretty effective. This boot has some nice flex to it. It's got a couple of little reflective hits on it. That's key. Let me get to the important factors about this boot though, and some of the reasons that we like it. First of all, it's got a nice firm plastic shin plate here, and there's a decent amount of padding behind it. It's not super thick, but that does give you some good shin protection. On the topic of protection, the TCX Drifter has two disc-shaped inserts on the inner and the outer ankle, malleolus if you like multi-syllable words. When those things do is they support the ankle after the leather has broken in and developed creases. If you have boots that have a nice firm leather but nothing underneath it, when they eventually break in, that leather will have softened and there will not be the same amount of support in the ankle, so you need to reinforce it with some hard structure, and TCX does that on the inner and outer ankle. That's really nice. Second thing is the buckles on this are pretty good design. They've got quite a bit of leverage. They've got a very positive feel to them. They work pretty easy in dirt or with mud. They're very easy to manipulate and to close when you have gloves on. That's great. And then of course they're adjustable, and they have quite a bit of adjustment. You can pull this out pretty far, so it's good for big calves. This boot's pretty good for big calves. The buckles on this are much better than past TCX versions. They're one of our more admired, or one of our more respected buckles. This is a good design for them. We're really stoked that they did it. The other thing that's really cool about the TCX Drifter is the fact that it has a welt sole. Now, that's a slight variation on welt sole construction. And for those of you that don't know why that is, it is because you need to build a boot with a welt sole in a particular way in order to make it waterproof. There's a tip for you. In any case, this is a nice lugged welt sole, and it's got a little bit of a heel on it, some good lugging, and it's pretty firm. There's definitely more rigidity in this sole than others. You can still bend it, but it has more support, and that's a good thing. And that's a good thing both for standing on the pegs, but also for frontal impacts. If you manage to accidentally clip something as you're passing by, like a stump or a rock, as I occasionally do, there's a little bit more protection in the boot for those frontal impacts. There's also an insert in the heel area inside of the leather, and then an insert here underneath the toe. So there's a good amount of protection in this boot. That's the rundown on how it's made. Oh, sorry, one more thing. It does have a footbed in it, as usual, as just about every boot we sell. The footbed in it is pretty poor, pretty cheap, pretty thin. Really you'd be well served to replace it, but this is a common complaint we have. That's the rundown on how they're made. Let's talk about how they're going to work on the bike. Before I dive into how the boot's going to work on the bike, I want to talk a little bit about how it's positioned in the marketplace in regards to the category and into other boots. Now, the TCX Drifter 2R evaluation is still it's still an adventure touring boot. It is definitely to the more protective side of adventure touring, which is a very good thing, but it is a step down in terms of protection compared to just about every true motocross or off-road boot. And the TCX boot, again, I mentioned earlier that it is to the protective side. I'm going to pull another really popular model into the frame here and talk about it. Now, this is the Forma Adventure, and to our thinking, this is about dead smack in the center of the adventure touring category. It has a little bit of protection in the ankle area, but it's also fairly soft in some aspects, so it's pretty easy to walk in and quite comfortable. When you begin to look at this model and ask yourself the question, okay, I like some of the things about this, but I'm looking for a boot that has more protection, a little bit more rigidity, a little bit more support, that's a pretty short list. The best boot in the category, in our opinion, is still the Alpinestars Toucan. This is the most sophisticated design, and it has quite a bit of plastic all the way around it, and so the Toucan is really good and really protected, but it has a very, very high price. This is a $500 boot. The Drifter is closer to the Toucan. It's definitely to the more protective side compared to the Adventure. A little bit less protection than the Toucan, but it also has quite a bit of comfort. Now, the first thing is there are different zones of protection in a boot. I've mentioned that before. I've got a video on it if you want to check that out on our YouTube page. But the Drifter has a very rigid sole. In that regard, this is similar in rigidity to the Alpinestars Toucan. In fact, very similar. But it's stiffer than the Forma Adventure, which flexes at the toe quite easily. The support in the ankle area is similar to the Forma Adventure, but it's got a little bit more rigidity to it because the leather on it is a little bit firmer and the boot is a little bit slimmer in the ankle. The boot also has just a nice confidence-inspiring feel, in my opinion, to the rigidity of it. Now, when I'm evaluating a boot, I'm looking for something that feels really solid, still has good comfort, good shape to it, but I like a boot that feels really protective. Remember, when you're buying a motorcycle boot, you're not buying it to go walking long distances in it. You may do that, but you're buying it to protect your foot. And TCX is definitely more confidence-inspiring than some other boots in the category, and we like that. All of the actions of the boot, trying it on, fitting it with both shin guards, and without opening and closing the buckles, they're all very easy. I was able to get a bootcut jean or a regular fit jean over the shin plate of this, and of course I can wear a Carhartt jean over this. Motorcycle pants will fit over it very easy. That's a nice thing also. Time for our bomber comments on the Drifter. First of all, we really like this boot. Pretty simple reason why. There is a dearth of boots in the adventure touring category where the designers and the manufacturers have paid really serious attention to making them protective and also comfortable. There are protective boots, there are comfortable boots, there are very few that manage both. This is one of them. It is to the more protective side of the category and definitely has some good components on it that give a lot of support, but more importantly, it's really well executed. The shape of the boot is great. The feel of the boot is great. The build quality of the boot is really nice. It just feels right on your feet and on the bike. It has that fit that we like with a wide forefoot and a narrow heel. I know I just mentioned that, but that's something that we all should be looking for because that, in our opinion, yields the best feel. There's enough room to add a footbed in here. I have a footbed on one side because one foot on me runs a little smaller than the other. But I've got a nice thick footbed in my right side boot, and it feels really good. I like it quite a bit. All the action of it, the buckle operation, the adjustments, everything on it is well sorted. They just nailed all the basics. You know, bells and whistles are nice, but really simple, elegant, well executed products are what we like and appreciate. It is waterproof. It's not Gore-Tex, it is waterproof, and that's a good thing. TCX has a 1-year warranty on these, and so that's good. And we haven't sold it for a really long time, so we don't know the longevity of this boot, but again, TCX is pretty good for support, so we imagine it's going to be fine. The price point of it is also quite good. It's under $300, $299, and that makes it a bit more affordable and well worth it. When you are looking here's the most important thing. When you're looking for a boot that has a little bit more support because you're riding your KLR or Tiger or 990 or 1190 or even BMW GS, more in the dirt, you're spending more time in the dirt, you really need more protection than some of the softer boots in the category have. And in those situations, you should always wear as much boot as you're willing to tolerate. Well, the problem with that statement is sometimes there's not a lot of choice out there. This is another really good one, really solid one in the category, and it's something that we really like. And we imagine we're going to do really well with them. So this boot, the TCX Drifter, is bomber recommended by us. We dig it, and we think you will like it too. And that is our review of the TCX Drifter. We are Atomic-Moto, www.atomic-moto.com, home of the bombers. We're mission focused on getting you the right gear for you, your bike, and your type of riding. We're really easy to work with, really professional. We've got great policies like fast free shipping and easy returns. And we've got great bomber reviews on our site also. Check us out, check out the Drifter, and we hope to see you out on the bike.